Hi everybody, welcome back to the Moose. That's musicmoose.org. Now in this segment, I want to talk about changing your strings. Perhaps you might break a string or you want to restring your banjo. So I thought I'd talk about the process of actually changing your strings in the banjo. And actually, I'm going to be talking as well about the process of tuning the banjo. If you remember in the earlier segment, I spoke about what the banjo is tuned to, but now I'm going to actually show you how to actually physically tune the banjo as well, because it didn't dawn on me at the time that perhaps some of you don't know the process of tuning the banjo or of stringing the banjo. So I'm going to go over that just a little bit right now. And I'm going to use this example using one of my two banjos that I have actually from Tom Neckville. So I think I'll just show you this banjo here real quick before we get started on that. I'm just going to flip this around and show you how pretty that resonator looks. And just the beautiful wood in this particular banjo. The wood on the back of this resonator is burly walnut, and you can just see how pretty that looks. This is one of my favorite banjos. I'm going to turn that around and just show you the neck again too here. And the wood that's in this fingerboard, which is Coca-Cola. Now Tom, this is a custom banjo that I got from Tom, and again, the wood was just so gorgeous in that fingerboard that I didn't even want to put any inlay in this neck and that fingerboard, just to keep the natural wood look on this banjo. You can see, I'll drop it down, you can see the grain in that peg head as well. Just a beautiful, beautiful banjo, and just a beautiful sounding banjo as well. Again, just great banjos all around. All right, getting on to the changing of the strings. And what I do when I'm changing strings, I got the two D strings off this banjo for this example. And I just lay the banjo on my lap. I'm going to start with the fourth string, so I'm going to get that string. Now these strings come sort of wrapped like that. And again, there are many variety of strings that you can use. Many companies make different types of strings. It's totally up to you, whatever string gauge you want to use on your banjo, or the best sounding string, that's totally up to you. But I just want to show in this example. So I'm going to unwind this string now, get this all out. What you want to do is you start with the loop end of the string. You can see that there's a loop in this. I'm going to put it on the tailpiece so you can see the loop in that end of that string. And what you do is you take the loop and you attach it to the back of the tailpiece. Now different banjos have different tailpieces, but they'll all have a place to connect that loop to the back of that tailpiece. So once you get that attached, keep tension on that string, sort of draw it up. And now we're going to, you can see the slots in this tailpiece, put that string down through that slot or down through the hole, whatever kind of tailpiece you have, and get that through that hole and down underneath. And again, just keep drawing tension on that string. Now what we're going to do next is we're actually going to put the resonator down on the floor, keeping tension on that string. We're going to draw that string up to the peg head. Now again, these are the tuners, and this is the part of the tuner where you're going to draw the string through. Now if you notice on this peg head is a little unusual in that it's not standard to the way most Gibson style banjos are. On most banjos there's going to be two tuners on the left side of the peg head and two tuners on the right hand side of the peg head. For the tuners on the left side of the peg head, I'm going to be using the example that I'm going to show you here. So what you do is you take your string and you put that string, there's going to be a hole in the top of that tuner and you draw that string, push that string through that hole, and you draw that string tight. And you keep the tension on the string with your left hand. You can see how that's sitting through that string like that. Now again, for stringing the strings, the tuner's on the left side of the peg head as you see it there in your visual. You start by drawing the string around clockwise. And you can see how that string is coming around clockwise. So you keep bringing that string around. And when you get it down to a point, you want to slide the top of that string underneath that string. So you slide that underneath, and you get that around, and you draw that tight. As you can see there how that looks. Now once you've got that underneath that string and pulling it tight, what you want to do is you take that string and pull it over the top of the string to the other side. Again, keeping tension on the string. Now once that's to that point, now you're going to start turning your tuner. So now we want to turn the tuner so it's going in a counterclockwise direction. And you can watch this string coming back in a counterclockwise direction. And when that does that, you see, that's locking that string in place. So there's going to be no slipping on that string. Now whether you're using a banjo or a guitar or whatever stringed instrument you have, you can use that same process. You see, once that's been turned, that tuning key, you see, it's not going to slip. So I'm going to leave it right there, and I'm going to change my first string. I'm going to bring the banjo back up in my lap. Give them a first string, unfold it. Now when these strings come packaged, they're going to actually have which string it is, whether it's the first string through the fifth string, so you know which string you're using. So again, this is going to change the first string. Again, you get your loop end, attach it to the back of the tailpiece, draw it tight, and you put it down through your slot or your hole in the top of the tailpiece, whatever style tailpiece you have, and you keep drawing tension on that string. You draw the tension, and again, put the banjo back down on the floor. You kind of hold yourself, hold the banjo against your leg. Again, drawing the string up through the hole in the top of the tuner and pulling it tight. Now, for tuners on the right hand side of the peg head, which there's going to be two on yours, we're going to do this same process but only in the opposite direction. So for the tuners on the right hand side of the peg head as you see it, we're going to start drawing that string in a counterclockwise motion. And you can see me drawing the string around there counterclockwise. And again, sliding the top of the string underneath string and pulling it tight. And you can see the position of the string there so far. Again, the next step, you draw that string over the top of the string, pull it back. Okay? Now the string's going to look like that. Now you start turning your tuner. So now this is going to go in a clockwise position. And again, that's going to lock that string in place. So you kind of bring your string around as you're turning the tuner. Make sure your string is in the nut, just like that. And again, start to turn that tuner and bring that around until it locks. So, that is how you're going to string up your banjo. Now we have some excess string. So what I use is just a little pair of wire cutters. We're actually going to cut Oh, we're going to leave about a ½ inch of that string. Just cut them off. Cut off both sides. Now I'm going to see how much time we have left on this video. You know what I'm going to do, folks? I'm going to split this up into 2 different segments because I'm running short on time. So now that you know how to string your banjo, the next segment I'm going to show you the actual process of tuning the banjo. And if you already know how to tune your own banjo, you can skip on and just go to the next lesson. But for those of you who don't, I'm going to be showing you how to do that in the next segment. So thanks again for joining me, everybody, and we'll see you next time right here on musicmoose.org.